Hope you've had a good week. This year is dedicated to Rachael Bas Reb Chaim Tzvi, and we'll go right to it. My situation is quite complex, but I will try to explain it in a few lines. I'm a wife and a mother. I'm a daughter of a wonderful woman and a not-so-wonderful man. I know it sounds strange, but I really do believe my father is a bad man. People who meet him will never believe this. He looks like a very frum, clever man who could be quite charming. He goes to shul on Shabbos and sometimes during the week, but he does not daven. He sits in his seat, but is not really davening. When he goes on holidays, he doesn't even take his tefillin. He really doesn't keep most of the halachas, like he never makes a bracha, benches, etc., only when in public. But the reason that I think he's a bad person is because he's got terrible, terrible middos. I think he's a person who's never worked on himself. When he's angry about something, and it's always something stupid, he goes into a rage. He screams and throws things. He can get violent as well. My mother thinks he's mentally ill. But after being to psychiatrists for many years, no one has diagnosed him with anything. He's someone who blames everyone for every problem in his life and never takes responsibility for anything. He really believes he's never made a mistake in his life. None of the children live in the same city as him intentionally. And some of my siblings don't talk to him, as it's too difficult. He makes our lives unbearable. He will often call me and complain about how horrible my mother is. When I say she's not so bad, he says, "You're always saying she's right and I'm wrong," and then starts verbally abusing me and sending me tens of abusive emails. He even curses his children and grandchildren, like, "You'll burn in Gehenna. Hashem can take away your children." And this really scares me. I often think how he really hates his children. He said so many times. But how is it possible for a father to wish harm on his children? Well, you're certainly describing a person who doesn't sound like the kind of person one would want to be stranded on in a desert island with. I will, I'm sorry, there's more of the question. I made a mistake. I thought that was the end. It's very difficult for us children. It's a painful reality to know your father does not love you unconditionally, as most parents do, and that he may be a bad person. We often talk bad about him, and often this is to support each other. But are we still speaking Lashon Hara? Is this very bad? Also, what are my obligations as a daughter to such a person? I'm going to work on the assumption that everything you wrote in the letter is completely true, and there's no other way to look at it. Now, people are not unifaceted, so from a logical standpoint, there probably is more to the picture than what you see, not than what you present. I'm not suggesting that you're lying. But I do suggest that there may be more in this picture than you're seeing, because his dramatic self-presentation takes up the whole screen. So I'm going to work as though this is the whole story and the only story, even though I personally don't think that this is necessarily the whole story and the only story. Okay, so the first thing is your judgment. You don't have to judge anyone. You don't have to judge me. I don't have to judge you. I remember once when my children were young, it was before Rosh Hashanah, and their teacher told them how on Rosh Hashanah 3 books are open. The book of the righteous, the book of the wicked, and the book of the intermediate. And the righteous are inscribed for life, the wicked for death, and the intermediate are left pending until Yom Kippur, and then there are only 2 books. So I saw my child was writing very laboriously. I said, "What are you doing?" And I saw he was putting down some of his friends in the book of the righteous and others in the book of the wicked. Yoni, he's wicked, that sort of thing. And I pointed out to him that it's really not his prerogative, it's Hashem's prerogative to decide who belongs in which book, which was a big chiddush to him. But you're a mature person. You don't have to put your father in any category. So instead of your inner dialogue being, "He's a bad man," let it be, "My experiences with him are painful. My sisters, my mother's. We've had painful experiences with him," but you don't have to categorize him. It's not your business whether he davens, benches, wears tefillin or not, more than it is whether the man next door benches, davens, wears tefillin or not. Whether the taxi driver who took you home from shopping does any of the above, assuming he's a Jewish taxi driver. It's tragic and unfortunate if any Jew doesn't keep these mitzvot. It's tragic for him. It's tragic in terms of kavod shemayim, but it really has nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. So the first thing that you have to do is to erase all of your judgments about this from the entire picture, because it's really not your business. Now when I say it's not your business, which I realize I purposely chose the harshest possible way to say it,